There's two types of people in this world. Owners and renters.
What you gonna do? I'm the man. You were scared. I knew it.
Love is a fictional story inspired by a true relationship I had with one of my uncles when I was growing up in Baltimore, Maryland as a young boy. It's a story of when I was a young kid, my uncle was my hero. And he was someone I looked up to when I was in the city, actually in 1987. And basically Love is a story inspired by that relationship and what it was like for me being a young boy looking up to, at the time, my hero. For me, as a young boy growing up in Baltimore, I actually was 9 years old. Woody in the film was 11. I had an uncle, and my uncle was evidently, you know, this infamous figure within the city. But for me, he was just my uncle. Actually, one of the co-creators of the HBO series The Wire, a man by the name of Ed Burns, actually did surveillance on my uncle for over a year and was a person responsible for his prosecution. I had no idea of this when I was a child. It was something that I just very auspiciously happened upon years later once I had moved to California and was attending film school at USC. You know, I just by happenstance meet Ed Burns' partner, David Simon, who was a Baltimore Sun reporter, a writer, and you know, we're having a conversation, and I referenced, you know, to him that I was from the city and I had an uncle, and I told him who my uncle was, and he was like, wow, you know, I'm sure there's a lot of things about your uncle that you don't know. He called my uncle the great manipulator. He said that my uncle had the ability to use anything or anyone to get what he wanted. So the fact that he had me in the car with him late nights driving through Baltimore made him believe if a police officer ever passed, that the two of us wouldn't look suspicious if he was transporting drugs. It's just like a father and a son in a car. And that was the moment for me that, you know, I immediately called Justin, my writing partner. I said, this is it now. This is what makes this compelling, is what if it is a boy's rite of passage and it's all happening in one day? You know, what happens when this kid, Woody, experiences his uncle kill someone for the first time? How does that shape, you know, his young identity? You know, what does that do to a child when they're exposed to violence for the first time? That's what really, really, you know, struck a chord with me deeply to be like, you know what, this could be truly a great cinematic experience.
When I'm looking to Woody, do cheated more this way?
So this, I mean, still talk to her, but once she gets to the scene, you know, you really don't have a whole lot to say to him, but because we're hanging down here on this angle so much, kind of just open your face up and have moments so we can see both your eyes.
Okay, cool.
Okay, here we go. The ensemble cast of Love. For my first film, I'm really, really fortunate and thankful that I had such great actors to work with. There's Common in his basically breakthrough performance as a leading man, Michael Rainey Jr., who truly is a wonder kid in this performance in the movie. There's Dennis Haysbert, and there's Danny Glover, and there's Michael Kenneth Williams, and Lonette McKee, and Megan Good, and Sammy Rotivi, and Anwan Glover, Clark Johnson. I just was really, really fortunate that so many people came out. You know, I really believe that when you write a story and you write something that emotionally moves people, I really think that actors really take to that. And action from the car.
The story itself is just a powerful story when you think about a human being who's really trying to live their life right, and they've experienced certain aspects of life that are the street life, but that doesn't make them a bad person. And they may have missed out on having their father in the house. And it's like something to really learn about people when you're exploring that aspect and thinking about, man, who was my father figure like for this character? And then at the same token, how that would affect me fathering my nephew, which was part of the story in itself. You know, when I got to that in the story and just realized that those were part of the dynamics, that made it very interesting. And man, like as an actor, I look for really quality roles. So this was an incredible role for me to play.
This gives me permission so I can get a loan on the house so I can get my business started. That's all it is. What you always tell me? Well, if you don't work, you don't eat.
I know what I used to always tell you. But speaking of work, did you call Miss Tiny about that job down at UMBC?
I ain't trying to work for nobody. I'm gonna be my own boss.
Well, I connected with Vincent because I dream too. I dream of achieving and doing well for my family, and like having people really be able to look to me as like someone who is doing well and can help them and can help guide them and will help provide for them. And I know Vincent had that desire that a lot of American people have, is to achieve and to dream of something and to go and live the right path, live on the right path and go in the right way. So I connected to that too, because I'm definitely someone who has dreams and aspirations of achieving. And I also connected with the obstacles that you experience when you are going for those dreams. Because, you know, at the same token, no matter what, whether it's been for me in music, for me as an actor, for me just as a human being, you go through the valleys and the peaks and those experiences and the challenges where somebody's saying nah, that, you know, or somebody saying no, you can't do it, or they creating an obstacle for you, or just your old habits, you know, start drawing you back, like they start pulling back at you, you know, and I can relate to that for sure.
All right, guys, here we go. Give me set. Action.
That's something for you to cop.
Yeah? About main man right here. Why you doing all the talking?
Nah, he's just my protection.
I feel like Michael Rainey Jr. is destined for greatness. So meeting him was just like, for me, I felt like, man, I'm meeting one of the dudes, you know, that's gonna turn this joint into something else.
Well, my mom knew somebody that knew the producer of the film. First we were in New York and we did like the pre-audition, and we went to Baltimore and then we did another audition, and it went from there.
When I was able to meet Michael Rainey Jr. for the first time, I said, Michael, I really believe that you're Woody, but the thing that's gonna get you this job is if you can be emotionally present and vulnerable with your feelings very quickly. And he looked at me very calmly and he says, I can do that, Sheldon. The film is, you know, it's all riding on if in fact this kid has the chemistry with Common. And I'm really, really hoping and praying that this is gonna work, because this is it. If this kid isn't it, then the film is at a stopping point before it can be able to be what it should be or what it has the potential to be. And so Michael comes, he comes down, and we're in Pat Moran's casting office, and we do the scene where the two of them have the huge explosion in the car. The altercation where Vincent actually physically manhandles Woody.
What happened? Why did you think it was the money?
And I look to Michael Rainey Jr. and I say, Michael, this is the moment we talked about in New York City. And he says, okay, Sheldon, just give me 1 minute. And I'm looking at him like, what are you gonna find in 1 minute? So I say, okay, Michael, take your minute. And I go sit back in my chair and we call action, and Michael switches his emotions just like that. And it was a very fascinating thing to experience.
You better calm down.
And that was the moment that he for sure was Woody.
Woody!
I believe my ability to tap into emotions come from just thinking about bad stuff that can happen to people that I love, and then I get into the emotional state, and then I get into character.
To see the things that Michael was able to do as an actor, and a lot of it is nonverbal communication. The character Woody doesn't have much to say, but through the course of this day, he comes into his own, you know, in his own way, he's starting his path to become a man.
I'm happy that I have the opportunity to be in the movie, but then I have to think, like, sad to get into this state, so it's kind of hard to do that. But I do it. I make it look easy, but it's not.
Help me!
I always felt that we would be able to create something really special if we could find a really special kid. And we found that special kid in Michael Rainey Jr.
Michael Rainey is really a talented young man. I felt a kindred, you know, it's like a kindred spirit. We came together really quickly. I think he loved having all these strong black male characters around him, and these men who gave him an awful lot of support. And I think it was there was a pride that he had. You know, I certainly felt a lot of pride meeting him. You know, he's a good kid.
Down to business.
You ain't never cracked no crabs?
Grandma always do it for me.
Boy, you from Baltimore and you don't know how to crack no crab.
Danny's professionalism with Common and Michael, there was just no ego to it. That was just a magical evening of shooting. What's happening in the moment when we have that big scene cracking crabs, and we have, you know, all the generations of this family.
You don't think I know what's going down on my streets?
Nigga, them streets would have ate your old ass up if I wasn't out there for you.
There's a certain amount of heart being broken in that. I think there's a lot of distrust on all sides. Everyone feels like they've been victimized. Everyone feels like they've been betrayed. And they are so deep in it that they can't step out and away from it and take care of it without violence.
I'm tired of your shit, man.
Vincent.
You know what your problem is, Vincent? You believe your own bullshit. Everybody was there in that room, saw things the way they saw it. And they weren't going to relent. And that's the tragedy. That's the tragedy in storytelling.
What I love most about Love is it's a film that has so much heart.
I think it's just a great story, and it just brings you back to old times you had with your aunt or uncle or anybody in your family that you really love.
To be able to experience these special moments with audience members and to see that they're having the same feeling that I had while capturing it's just a great thing. And I just hope that people experience a very emotionally visceral experience with the film in the course of the one day that they're sharing with Vincent and Woody.